Welcome back. In Pyongyang, CCP leader Xi Jinping and North Korean leader Kim Jong Un meeting for the first time in nearly a year, and it's Xi's first trip to North Korea in 7 years. The two pledging, quote, unbreakable friendship, as analysts say China trying to pull Pyongyang back into its sphere of influence. Joining me now with more, Steve Yates, Senior Research Fellow for China National Security Policy at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to have you. Now, within a month after meeting President Trump in Beijing, Xi Jinping first met with Russia's leader Vladimir Putin and now Kim Jong Un. Really busy schedule for Xi compared to the year before, especially after the intensified purges within the Chinese military. Why do you think all of a sudden Xi is so busy meeting with these leaders? What kind of signal is he sending to the world, or is it more like a message back home?
Well, it's a reasonable question. Xi Jinping really in recent years has not gone very much of anywhere. The trips he's taken have been the exception, not the rule. Now, a trip from Beijing to Pyongyang is not like going halfway around the world. It is their close neighbor, the one ally they have in the world. And of course, there'll be flowery rhetoric on all of this. My sense there's a tinge of jealousy about Russia picking up their nearby friend and carrying them along for the Ukraine enterprise. But then again, China has been fueling Russia's war machine too, so it's not like they haven't been sort of hanging out with the same date in that respect. But China has had a love-hate relationship with North Korea. It's been a friend and an ally and a neighbor, and yet it's also very needy. And sometimes in the Chinese system, they resent that. But one thing is for certain, Pyongyang would not be a nuclear weapon state but for China's permissiveness about the proliferation network that connected the AQCon network from Pakistan to North Korea and other parts of the world with Chinese instructions in those materials.
I want to get to the nuclear aspect, but very quickly digging into this Xi-Kim summit. What does each side want to get out of this meeting?
Well, it's a good question, too, because I don't see what China could possibly get out of it. North Korea doesn't have a lot to offer. There are a lot of migrants that go illegally from North Korea into China, and the system in North Korea must know about it, and certainly the system in China knows, since it's the most advanced surveillance state known to mankind. And what could China give North Korea? Pretty obvious. China should have some material benefits and assistance it should be able to give. North Korea doesn't really want to admit that their economy is not fantastic, but they certainly would not say no to some form of economic development assistance. My presumption is that's mostly what's in the cards. There may be some discussion of what do you think, Mr. Kim, your people have learned from going along with the Russians in this campaign in Europe. It is, after all, significant combat experience for North Korea, which really last had that combat experience fighting alongside China against us.
And to your earlier point, there is growing concern over North Korea's nuclear threats to our allies in the Indo-Pacific. Earlier today, actually, South Korea's president said this on the matter. Take a listen.
Sanctions are of absolutely no use right now. Everything is coming in from Russia. As for China, it seems the sanctions aren't really working either. So what I'm saying is that we should not give up the goal of denuclearization.
Given that, what else could be done here? Are we on the right path to counter the threats?
Well, I think the primary thing is you sort of follow the wisdom of stoicism of control what you can control, and the things you cannot control, you sort of have to let be to a degree. And so missile defense, the Iron Dome for Asia kinds of concepts are the areas where we need to be investing and deploying advanced technology. We have to win the space race. We have to stay ahead on AI and chips because technology is our friend. And maybe if there are some lessons from Ukraine's resistance and how it modernized its own reliable supply chains, that needs to be replicated among Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, among others. Those, I think, would be the best feet forward in trying to get after this. But what the South Korean leader is saying is patently true. Russia will proliferate to North Korea, and so will China. And there's not a lot within that triangle that we can block. And so that, I think, is just the sad reality of where we are with our geopolitical dealings with these big countries.
And speaking of the Golden Dome, the Iran situation, of course, is dominating headlines right now. When or if the U.S. gets a deal with Iran, how would that new relationship between Washington and Tehran impact the alliance of China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran?
Well, it would take the eye out of bricks. And so it would be just a little bit of a nudge back in the direction of there is a notion of America rising, not falling, and that America does have real allies in the world and will use force at distance to be able to shape those events. And there's not a lot that Russia and China can do about it when the U.S. is that determined. But we still have a little bit of an uncertain outcome of what Iran will be. And it seems like what Beijing is doing is what it always does. It sort of bets on both sides and tries to hedge on outcomes to see whether it can get an advantage one way or the other. It is probably just like it's trying to take advantage of post-conflict Ukraine for economic investment and material assistance from Ukraine's fertile fields that can help feed China. It'll probably seek to try to get an advantage in post-conflict Iran as well, regardless of which way it goes. But for now, with the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, lingering longer and a degraded but still unfriendly regime in place, I think it's a little bit of a dilemma for China because it's not much of an ally to them. That Iran doesn't have much value to give if it can't control its country and it doesn't have the ability to export that oil on its own.
Well, a lot to watch for here for sure. Steve Yates, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
A pleasure. Thank you.